You're never going to retire?
You got to get as close as music walk up.
You're never going to retire?
Made
You know what'll drive you out of it? The .com stuff's going to drive you out of it.
That's right.
Roxanne
Well,
has them downstairs if you don't want to go through the line.
just need some of your sound.
On game day itself.
Huh? You know what?
Pick up your passes in my office. I'll be able to drive or something. Short version.
No, I don't.
Remember when you told me that about 3 years ago?
How did I say that?
You said if I had $1 million, you'd
Oh.
never see me again the rest of my life.
Should I take half that?
Being in this room on time, that's breaking tradition too. Maybe you should go back out in the hallway.
Maybe a quarter.
That's right. Can I start, Kevin?
Yeah.
Okay. Obviously, we're back at it. We're very excited. We still need another 4 or 5 days of practice. Our players have had a good preseason camp. We've stayed healthy, and I think we've gotten good results. As school starts, they go through a little bit of process and adjustment, and we'll go back out there today, and it's going to be hot, which is good, gives a chance to get adjusted to the heat. But all the name guys that have been talked about for the last 9 months or so are doing very well and competing, practicing very well. I'm pleased with the leadership that we're getting from Whedon and Blackman and Levy and Grant Garner and Broderick and Johnny and Markel and Quinn. The key guys that need to be really good leaders for us have done a good job up to this point. And we expect to play 6, 7, 8 freshmen. Not for sure exactly which one of those guys will be out there now, or I should say not for sure how many of those guys will be out there. But for the most part, we've got a number of guys that are in this class that can compete, so we'll give them the opportunity to put them on the field. And looking forward to the first game.
Can you talk just a little bit about Hubert Enium and how he's come back from his injury and how he's approached practice and where he's at now?
Hubert's had the best preseason camp that he's had since he's been here, and I'm somewhat hesitant to talk about a player that's competed so well over the last 3 weeks until he gets out and performs in games. But he's convinced me that he's ready to go. His foot feels good. He's made catches in camp. He's competed. He's not missed anything, and I expect for him to really play well this year. I think he's matured a lot, not only physically but mentally. Understands he's seen both sides of it. 2 years ago he had it, and he lost it with the injury. And sometimes those guys realize that it's a lot more fun being out there playing. And he's really competed well. I've been proud of what he's accomplished in the last month.
Mike Wilson-Yeoman's kind of a throwback guy. I mean, I know he went to you and the offense changed and he wanted to play, but tell me a little bit about that meeting and his ability he is going to play both sides of the ball now.
He's done very well. It started in the spring, and we certainly need him on offense in certain situations, and he has the ability to give us some pass rush in third downs, and so he's another young man that's come a long ways in the last 12 to 18 months, has really grown up and understands the process of being a college football player, and he's been able to handle both. He's given us great effort, and I expect him to make plays on both sides of the ball.
I think Brandy called him, said he's somewhat of a traitor sometimes. You know, he had his wristband on some of the plays.
Yeah, he's done that before, which really you can't blame a guy for doing that. They should have made him take his wristband off when he's playing defense. But I would be a little more concerned about him if he wasn't trying to look at the plays, to be honest with you.
Mike, you've talked in the past about one of the problems you guys have had to overcome is quality depth. Is this as deep a ball club as you've had since you've been here now?
I think so. Each year I've mentioned that we have some youth, but we're more athletic, and I think we're deeper now than we ever have been. If you just look at us offensively, everybody knows about the returning guys we have. We've always tried to find 5 offensive linemen and then maybe 1 or 2 that would give us some backup in case we needed it. I'm comfortable with 8 or 9 guys now. Defensively, we have everybody in the secondary back. Plus we have some young guys that will contribute at corner that don't have a lot of experience, but they played enough snaps last year in key games to make us comfortable. Obviously, the safeties are back. And then we have Daquan Lowe coming back, who had an injury last year. He's an experienced player. Both ends are back. Sean Lewis. So we're replacing the 2 inside guys. And then we're replacing the 2 inside tackles. Donaldson and Jarka were really, really good for us for the last couple of years. But Nigel and Littlehead and Rogers, those guys have to give us something on the inside that have to where we can maintain defensively and then improve as the season goes on. So I don't think there's any question that we have as much depth now as we've had since I've been the head coach here.
With that depth, does that take away the question marks then you would have through all of this preseason warm-ups? Is that why camp has gone so well?
Maybe. I don't know if anybody really has that answer. We've been fortunate up to this point with injuries. I will say that we have not had an all-out scrimmage. You know, we've had what I call a heavy thud scrimmage. We haven't just said we're going to roll the ball out there and let it play. I'm sure that contributed to some. But, you know, I just feel like we're further along as a football program. You know, I've said that a number of times, and for those of you that have followed me for 4 or 5 years now, I just think that's a big part of it. I think there's a level of maturity here, and I hope that continues on throughout the season with all the preseason hype, for lack of a better term, that's going on. So I think that's contributed to us having a good camp.
Did you really not skip a beat with Todd coming in, taking Dana's place? It doesn't seem to be great transitions.
Well, we've had a smooth transition, and when you have a quarterback that's as mature as Brandon is and is willing to buy in, and he's a good guy and he's easy to get along with, that helps with that transition. Personalities are such a big part of what we do every day. And Todd came in and was willing to accept our offense. You know, we've changed terminology and things, but we'd have probably done that anyway. But for the most part, we'll be very similar to what we've done last year. I would like to think that we can improve in short yardage and goal line. I didn't think we were very good in those situations last year. And I feel like the transition's gone very smooth. I mean, you have 2 guys that work very hard at it. Well, there's more than 2, but the 2 main guys, being Todd and Brandon, have worked very hard.
3 or 4 years ago, Mike, you would always be asked if your defense can help you get to a goal or help you have a winning season. I guess the question now is it gotten to the point in the 3rd year with Bill Young that it can keep you in the top 10 and help you contend for the Big 12 or the BCS?
I think they're going to be good enough to do that. I'd mentioned that I feel like they'll be more athletic. We have to get inside linebacker play from guys that nobody knows who they are. And I've mentioned to the team, nobody really knew who Blackman or Whedon were last year either, except the local media. So there's an opportunity for guys to step up and make plays. How some of those guys mature and how they developed early in the season or as the season progresses, nobody knows. But hopefully we've instilled the right information in them, and they're trained, and they'll continue to get better, and they'll live up to the expectations of the team. The one thing that we have working for us when we have discussions as a staff is there's guys on this team that are new but have either redshirted or been around and won a lot of football games. And so, you know, hopefully that becomes a custom, and they'll start playing up to their expectations. And we have certainly told them that they have a responsibility to play well enough for us to win every game.
So Whedon now with a year and a half actual time as the program leader and the starting quarterback, and with a healthy thumb and the familiarity of the offense, do you think there's a chance? I mean, he's routinely listed as one of the best guys in the country, best quarterbacks. Do you think there's a chance, legitimate chance, he may be the best quarterback in the country?
It's hard for me to say because I don't know what's out there. I know that I wouldn't trade him for anybody. There's good ones in this league. A guy at Norman's playing good. A guy at College Station's playing good. A guy down at Waco played well. Just to name a few that we compete against. So I don't know what's out there. But his personality, his ability, what he's given to this team, and how he's developed, I wouldn't trade him for anybody in the country. And I said this earlier after watching him in the spring. I think he'll play this game for a long time from here on out because he's put together to do it, and he's bought in, and he's willing to play with pain and learn and do all the things it takes to be a good quarterback.
Mike, back on the defensive side of the ball, you've got 2 defensive ends, both senior. One's weathered injury since he got here, kind of progressed. The other had an off-the-field issue he had to weather. And those could be two of the guys that really dictate how good that defense could be, don't they?
Yeah, I'm glad that they moved so I could see you. I thought you'd been here so long they just put you over intercom system now. Stay off down at Chris's University Spirit or at the Wings place. And they've done very well, Robert. Jamie, I'm extremely proud of. Jamie Blatnick had a very unfortunate situation that he brought on himself, and he's paid a price for it. And as everybody knows, he's become accessible to the media and handled himself exactly the way he should. And it was extremely difficult for him. And he never says a word anymore. You never hear him at practice. He does his job. He's become a 500-pound bencher, I believe. I think that's right. He's become a 500-pound bencher, and he's been tremendous in the weight room. And he's one of the leaders that sometimes I don't mention them because I don't watch those guys a lot, but he's done really good for us. And then Rachetti, Rachetti's has matured a lot mentally. First couple years was difficult for him with the hip injury, and leaned on it some early in his career, maybe more so than he should have. But he's fought through it now, and he's out there, and he's done well. And I expect those guys to make plays. I mean, they're veterans. They've been out there. They understand the battle. They know what it takes.
Even when you've had fluctuation in the quality of your skill guys, your offensive line has been really consistent, good from day one in your program. Do you view those guys as kind of being the foundation of your program?
They are. With what we've done on offense, I hate to give Wick too much credit, but he's kind of a soldier, and he keeps his head down and just does what you ask him to do, and he finds a way to get a lot of results out of players. Some guys have that ability as coaches, and some guys don't. And we've gone through quite a transition here on offense in 7 years, and we've been able to get really good results out of our linemen. He does a nice job of that, but I also think that we're recruiting the right guys. We're bringing guys in here that other schools may not want because of either height, strength, or some other reason, or it could be a geographical location for that matter. And Rob Glass does a great job with them, and they stay lean, and they have a really good cardiovascular system, and I'd mentioned that before. That's important in our offense, and we think it's important in the style of play in today's game to have a good cardiovascular system if you're playing offensive line. And those guys have done a nice job of that. And his coaching philosophy is almost this is what we're going to do. This is how we have to do it. I don't care about any other issues you have. This is just what has to happen. And then if there's a mistake, we're going to fix it and go down the road and don't look back. I think that they've kind of adopted that coaching philosophy, and it's worked well for us.
Coach, you mentioned the hype earlier, a different kind of buzz around here this season. Does that extra help your excitement level in practice and in preparation as you get ready?
Up and down. I think it's there's so much now, and it starts so early in the year. It's been going on since April. That at some point it kind of fizzles out. They really just have to stay focused on what's going on. There's definitely a lot of excitement in this community and across the state. You see more people wearing orange, wearing Oklahoma State football stuff across campus. You go out to eat at night. I go out to eat a couple nights ago with my family, and people are talking about it. You can go into the stores around here in the community, and people wearing orange. There's a lot of excitement. We're going to break the ticket sales again probably tomorrow for the second time in 3 years, and that's with Holder doubling the prices, right, Kyle? So he's made it hard on Kyle, and me, and we're still doing it, which it's the right thing to do, to try to get things going. So there's just a lot of excitement, and it's a good time to be here, and it can't get any better. The game day that we have here, we have the national championship bus is parked out here, and there's just a lot of things going on now that we're very appreciative of.
You mentioned this is your dream job, though. What's it mean to you, this buzz? It's kind of what you wanted, where you wanted to get.
Well, I want to win a championship, again, and I've said this, and I really mean it. I'm happier for the people here than really for myself, because it doesn't take a lot for me to be happy. As long as I got something to do every day and can jog a little bit and eat food, I'm good. But I'm happy for the players because they work extremely hard. I'm happy for the Board of Regents, the administration, the fans, the people that have lived here and been in this state and been Cowboy fans for 50 years that can hold their head high. I'm really as happy or more for them than myself because I'm here every day. I live it. I see it. I don't feel like I ever have to go to work. So, but I'm thrilled that we're in this situation. To not put it aside, I'd much rather be answering these questions than be sitting here and not have won any games and wondering if we're going to be any good this year.
When Terry Dunn Phillips used to beg fans to come here and tailgate, you'd have 3,000 or 4,000 fans who would tailgate for home games. Did you ever think you'd see 20,000 to 30,000 consistently out here tailgating?
I don't honestly, Bill. No. And here's why, because I played here in 1988, and we had the best college football player, in my opinion, to ever play the game. And we played a home game here at the end of my senior year, or my junior year, and there was about 32,000 people here. I would have just come to watch him. Honestly, no. I don't know how many people tailgate here now. Kyle, how many?
20 to 30,000.
Yeah, so I know you can't get parking. I can't get my wife a parking spot. Coach Holder takes it and gives it to donors, which is the right thing to do. But it's a good thing when you have those issues that you cannot get parking, and there's a lot of people here. The game day in this community is so much different than it ever has been, and there's been a lot of people contribute to it. I go back to the people at the top all the way down to where we're at are Oklahoma State people, and they care about the university. And when you have that in effect, then obviously good things are going to happen.
Mike, you guys just played Louisiana last season, but with the coaching change they've had down there, are they a little bit of a mystery coming up opening weekend?
They are, and obviously I read about them and have a lot of respect for what they're doing. They're coaching their guys hard. They're running sprints before practice and after practice. They're going to come in here in shape, and there's a new attitude, a new approach when you have a staff like that. And so our players understand that. They've been told that essentially they're going to come in here and they could care less what we did last year. And by us having all this preseason hype and being ranked 8th or 9th in the country, that just throws fuel on their fire. And so gives them something really to work for. So our players have been made aware of that. Our coaches have been made aware of that. And, I think we have a decent idea of what they're going to do on both sides of the ball, but you don't really know. They could show up in something and it wouldn't surprise us. Your approach to a game like this, or I should say our approach to a game like this, is to play sound base defense and run to the ball and tackle, and offensively get the ball in the hands of the guys that can win the game for you. And you got to go from there.
Have you used it all for motivation, the fact that they led your team last year at halftime?
They know that, and it's been printed and talked about, and I think they're aware of that. And that's the risk you take in college football now with all the parity out there. You have a couple series where you don't play well, turn it over a time or two, they make a couple big plays, and you can turn around and you can be behind real quick. So hopefully with what's out there and everything they read and they hear, that they understand the importance of starting fast and playing well early in the game.
And Mike, among first-year players, freshmen with a bit of a wow factor to them, is Josh Stewart at or near the top of that list? And if so, when did you notice the wow factor?
Well, he's certainly near the top pretty early. He's only out there a couple days, and he was making some plays that got everybody's attention. We've had media that's watched practice, and people want to know who was originally number 9. They changed his number to 5, and I didn't know it, so I thought we had 2 guys that were making plays. And then I realized that they changed him from 9 to 5, so that was kind of a downer for me. But I was asking who 5 was, and they said that's Stewart. He changed numbers. But yeah, it wasn't long. A couple days into practice, he was making a lot of plays.
Mike, it wasn't too long ago that if you played 6 to 8 freshmen or more, it would be because you had to. Mm-hmm. Now you have such recruiting that the talent level is so high that you get to play those guys because you really can't deny them. How different is it now?
Well, it's different, and I think everybody has a different look across the country. We feel like that in a what could be a 13-game schedule, total number of 70 plays a game on offense and defense. You have 140 by 13 if you add those numbers up. Well, now you take 90 on offense, 90 on defense, on somewhat of an average, and you times that times 13, you get those total number of plays. Well, you only have 11 players on the field, and those guys, somebody's got to play those plays. So you have to increase the number of players that play during those games to keep guys from getting fatigued, getting run down, and becoming more injury prone. So 2 reasons. 1, because of the extra plays, we need young guys to contribute, and 2, they're coming out of high school more prepared now than they ever have been before. The high school football in the state of Oklahoma is better, and the high school football in Texas is obviously good. And so those guys are coming out ready to play. So because of that, more people or more players are competing as a freshman. And to add to that, if they're really good, you're only going to have them here 3 years anyway. So you might as well get your time out of them.
On paper, you've got Josh Cooper as your punt return guy. Is that the direction you decided to go with the veteran guy ahead of?
Yeah, we could, based on the situation, I would say there's a good chance that Josh will be the first guy to go out. But Chelf is the guy that's caught punts, and Broderick's caught punts, and Josh Stewart's going to return at some point during the year, whether it's the first punt or first game or second game. But at some point, he'll be back there catching punts and get a chance to see what he can do.
There was a period of 27 years where Oklahoma State opened on the road 15 times. It had just this weird tendency to open on the road. And I know it drove Les crazy. He opened every game. Every opener he had was on the road. And Simmons had it, Pat had it. Did you express to the administration, let's stop doing that? Or has it just evolved? Because this is the first time you had great home openers since January.
4, 5, 6 years ago, we sat down and had meetings and scheduling and come to the conclusion of what we thought was best for Oklahoma State. Thursday night games, home, away, who you wanted to play, different things like that. And so we sat down and had a good meeting, bipartisan, I guess, for lack of a better term. Everybody sat down and we came to a conclusion and figured out this is what was best. And I think we all agreed that we want to play 7 home games, and we certainly want to open the season here for the fans, for season ticket sales, for the excitement, for the people in the community, the vendors. And so those discussions have taken place, but it's not always guaranteed because of what's out there, of what schools are paying teams to play games now. It's pretty easy to go play a road game and get $800,000-$900,000. So because of that, you're not going to get as many 2-for-1s as what you could get in the past. So you're not going to always be able to have 7 home games and open at home. But for the most part, it's better for your football program, it's better for the school and the excitement if you can open at home.
Sure, because Oklahoma State was opening at places like Northern Illinois, Lafayette one year. Especially if you go in with a young team in a game like that and you get beat, I would think it's
Well, it's difficult, and it doesn't make it as much fun in preparation, and it takes some of the excitement and the luster out of starting the season. That may have been Dave Martin's fault. Very well could have been Dave Martin's fault. So.
Can you talk about Alex Elkins and Castleman and what they did to break into the starting lineup with 2D?
Well, Alex obviously is different because he's more mature and older, and when we signed him, we felt like that he could come in and rotate right away and give us some physical ability and some maturity and some strength, and he's done that. And he's had a nice camp. Castleman is further ahead than what most freshmen would be, not only physically but mentally. And we signed him at 260-ish, 65-ish, and he's 97 now. So he's already 30 pounds bigger. And so it's happened a lot faster for him. Sometimes that kind of happens that way, and sometimes it doesn't. But he's shown some signs of being pretty tough mentally. Those guys that have to contribute as a freshman, if they can make it through camp and stay healthy and learn to kind of fight through it, then they'll have a chance to play, because practice is starting next week through the remainder of the season considerably different and cut back and less physical contact from what they've gone through the last 3 weeks.
So when you decided to cut back on how physical your preseason camp was going to be, was it obviously you wanted to keep guys healthy and you accomplish that. Healthy as camp you probably ever had. But do you think they go into next week really game ready for contact from a ball security standpoint or tackling?
Well, we hope, and those discussions have all taken place, and that's one of the things that keeps me up at night, I guarantee you. So we just weighed the options, and I mean, I'll be honest with you, Bill, because I like you. When you start a season and you practice basically Tuesday, Wednesday, and you have shorts on Thursday, there is no scrimmaging. So why do it 1 week before the season? I mean, other than it's gone on forever. And we could be wrong. Maybe we won't tackle very well. I don't know. But my thought process was, you're 10 days out from playing the first game. If you were 10 days out from playing the fourth game of the year, you wouldn't be out there. And I believe that the game is more physical now than it ever has been. Guys like Markel Martin that are playing safety, they didn't look like that when I was playing. He's 212 pounds and is a 380-pound bencher, and when he hits you running 4.5 now, it's like getting hit by a truck. And so I just didn't want to see that in the scrimmage. And I hope that the decision we made as a coaching staff was good, was to keep everybody up and running full speed, keep them healthy, keep them fresh, and hope that there's enough maturity on our team that they can go play hard in the first game. Now, there's a lot of veteran ball coaches, and there's probably one that I played for that could be listening to me right now saying I'm crazy. And I'm not so sure I don't agree with him at times. But that's just the decision that we made 2 weeks ago.
Have you decided on a uniform combination for the freshman year?
Yes. And I don't know what they are. But I do know they decided on them. And honestly, I don't know what they picked.
Who decided?
We got a group of guys together, some veteran players, and honestly, I don't know who they were either. Our equipment staff put together several scenarios, like 15 or 20 of them, and we got, I know Whedon was on there, I think Markel was on there, and I think there may have been 4, 6, 7 guys, and they decided which ones they wanted to wear, and I said, that's perfect, that's good. So, good? All right, thanks.